Hey everyone, I'm with Jemma and Beth. We work together at Rise Beyond. We are here today to talk about a peer learning program that they are launching specifically for Chief People Officers. So, firstly, if you could tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Okay, so my name's Jemma. I'm an OD consultant and coach, and I've been working with Rise for nearly 2 years now. And along with Beth, we've been running peer learning groups for a number of organisations. Beth and I will be co-leading the CPO programme, and we're both experienced organisational development consultants, coaches, facilitators, and trainers. And we'll be using all of that experience and all of the knowledge that we've gained in a number of years of working with groups and individuals to create a really challenging, supportive and interesting space for the CPO programme to be contained within.
Let me talk a little bit about why we thought it was a really good idea to launch a CPO programme right now. We're bored of the word unprecedented times, but really we are absolutely in unprecedented times, and the amount of challenge that's going through organizations, particularly in the people sphere, and therefore the energy, commitment and focus that chief people officers all over the country and world are having to put into their jobs at the moment is monumental. Given right now what CPOs are dealing with, there isn't really a space for CPOs to get together to thrash out what they're experiencing, to mutually support one another in the strategic challenges that they're facing.
I know that you conducted some research and interviews with CPOs to find out what their challenges are. And could you give a bit more information about that?
By identifying with people we've spoken with and worked with over the last number of years about the need for a space for CPOs to get together and be together, we really wanted to investigate that a little bit more. What is it that CPOs are looking for that the current provisions out there in the market through networking and other professional development isn't providing? And what we were hearing from a range of interviews we did with CPOs across the world was that they want a space where they can really wrestle with their strategic HR agenda right now. What's going on in the climate around COVID, around the pandemic, around Black Lives Matter, around virtual and blended ways of working. They want to be able to get into the reality of what's really going on now and learn from colleagues who are navigating uncharted waters in a lot of these spaces and collectively share insight and ideas around that. We also, very importantly, picked up from our CPOs that a lot of networking environments allow you to talk about your HR profession, but actually CPOs are working in an environment often where they're sitting on the executive boards. We get loads of training about how to be a great HR professional. We don't get much training or support in how to be in the C-suite and to influence boards, our C-suite colleagues, and how to play that active role. So we wanted to create a space where we weren't just talking about HR, we were talking about being a senior chief officer in an organization, and again, learning from one another about those experiences and developing our skills, mindsets, competencies, capabilities around that.
The things that came out of the interviews was that the CPO role is quite unique on the board because you're in many ways a custodian of quite a lot of things, but you're also a colleague with these people, and that they want to explore how you bring that challenge and also act as a partner, and how do you get that right balance and build trusted relationships with people at that level to be able to have the influence and the impact in the organisation.
The other thing that we were hearing loud and clear was that CPOs are looking for a space where they can actually be honest, vulnerable, and step into a space of critical self-reflection, rather than just talking about the work and the practicalities of being in C-suite or as a chief people officer in an organization. Actually having some real personal development space to be able to get into discussions around what that feels like, their own skills and capabilities, their own mindsets. As Jemma was describing, that space of challenge, of tension that a CPO sits in with the executive suite, what does that need from us as individuals? Our resiliencies, our capabilities, how we bring ourselves. And so we want to create an environment where people, chief people officers, can come together and actually get a bit deeper together, really get into critical self-reflection and support one another in that space.
Can you tell me a little bit about what people can expect if they join the program?
Of course. So the intention is that we're going to meet 9 times during the year, taking out the bit around the summer, which is always notoriously difficult to get people together for. And there'll be 2-hour meetings. And what you'd be bringing to that meeting is some challenges. And the more that you can think about those challenges and understand those, and the more that you're going to get out of them. So you'd have a group of 6 or 7 people, and you'd have an opportunity to connect and come together. And then you would share a challenge each, and then you would choose 2 of those challenges to explore in more detail between you and the group. So that's the sort of main PLG process, but actually what's special about Rise is how we set it up. And Beth and I have thought long and hard about, actually what it is that we can do to build connection and trust, so that you are, going deeper into those issues. You're able to share with an understanding of the people that you're working with, what their patterns and habits might be, how they may be getting stuck. So you can really be giving them support, challenge and feedback around, how do they shift the dial on some of the things that they're looking at, and get a way forward. And you're obviously sharing your unique experiences with each other as well, which is adding value. You'll also have that point to access other people's strategic thinking, the things that they're noticing, and that feedback and that interaction in a peer way really builds your strategic capability, rebuilds your ability to reflect critically on your thinking, and also getting some support and information and guidance on actually how you might be approaching these things.
As Rise consultants, we work in PLGs collectively together regularly. It's part of our internal practice, but we also facilitate PLG processes for a whole range of employees, right from the CEO suites right the way down to new managers just starting their journey in leadership. When we are working with PLGs, the skills that we bring to bear are both our experience of being in that process. We're also OD consultants. We've got extensive experience and knowledge about what good looks like, particularly in an OD and HR space. So occasionally we will act as experts or thought prompters to bring ideas or new perspectives into it. But we feel our role in the CPO PLG program is most importantly conveners of space, so that we are creating a safe space with a peer group of impactful, highly strategic HRDs, so that you can come together and learn from one another. It's not about us teaching, it's about us as Rise consultants convening the right space. We find these spaces become a real community where you have peers that you get on with, that you build deep, trusted relationships with, that you can have a laugh and a giggle about the realities of holding this really challenging role in an organization. And hopefully we find over the period of 6 to 12 months that you actually end up making some really good friends.
If anyone watching would like to learn more, we've got a landing page in the link below, and you can also have a chat with Beth or Jemma. They're willing to answer any of your questions, so their contact details are there as well.